The stars looked cold and empty from the bridge of the Vorthok hunting ship. Commander Dekvar stood tall on his 6 legs, his dark skin covered in hunting scars. Each scar told a story of a world conquered, a species hunted to extinction. His yellow eyes glowed with excitement as he looked at the new target on the screen. Earth, a small blue and green planet in a quiet corner of the galaxy. "Tell me about this new prey," Dekvar said to his second-in-command. His voice was deep and rough, like grinding stones. The smaller Vorthok pulled up data on the screen. "They call themselves humans, Commander. They are weak creatures. Only 2 arms, 2 legs. They have no claws, no fangs, no armor on their skin. They cannot even breathe underwater or survive in space without machines." Dekvar laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "What about their weapons?" "Simple chemical explosives, Commander. They fire small metal pieces at each other. Their ships can barely leave their own planet. They have never faced real hunters like us." The commander walked closer to the screen. His ship was alive, grown from Vorthok biotechnology. The walls pulsed like a heartbeat. The weapons were living creatures, bred for war. Everything about the Vorthok was designed for hunting. "They fight each other constantly," the second-in-command continued. "Our scouts watched them for months. They cannot work together. They speak different languages. They have different skin colors and hate each other for it. They will be easy prey." Dekvar studied the images of humans on the screen. They looked so small and soft. No natural weapons at all. "How many hunting ships do we need?" "Perhaps 3, Commander, maybe less. This will not take long." On Earth, Dr. Kongde sat alone in his office at the Jeju Island Deep Space Monitoring Station. It was late at night, and most of his colleagues had gone home. The coffee in his cup was cold, but he did not notice. His eyes were fixed on the computer screen showing readings from the deep space. Sensors. Something was wrong with the numbers. For 3 days he had been seeing strange signals from the edge of the solar system. The gravitational readings made no sense. It was like massive objects were moving out there, but they were not showing up on any telescopes. "Dr. Park," he called to his colleague in the next room, "can you look at this?" Dr. Park Yuna walked over yawning. She was tired and wanted to go home to her family. "What is it now, Day?" "Another false alarm. Look at these gravity readings. Something huge is moving at the edge of our solar system. Multiple objects, each one bigger than our largest space station." Park Yuna looked at the screen and frowned. "The equipment must be broken. There is nothing out there. Our telescopes would see something that big." "That is what worries me," Kongde said quietly. "What if they do not want to be seen?" Halfway around the world, Commander Lee Tae was in a meeting at NASA headquarters. The room was full of scientists and military officers. Everyone looked worried. "The satellite network has detected the same signals," a general was saying. "Whatever is out there, it is big, and it is moving toward Earth." Lee Tae studied the reports on his tablet. As the Korean-American liaison between NASA and international space agencies, he had seen many strange readings before, but nothing like this. "Have we tried to communicate?" he asked. "We have sent signals on all frequencies. No response so far." At that moment, every screen in the room flickered. Then a voice filled the air. It was deep and alien, speaking broken English with an accent no human had ever heard. "Creatures of the 3rd planet, we are the Vorthok. We are hunters. You are prey." The room went silent. Lee Tae felt his blood turn cold. The alien voice continued. "Your world has been chosen for the great hunt. This is an honor. You will provide sport for our greatest warriors. You have 7 of your solar rotations to prepare. The weak will die quickly. The strong will give us good hunting." Images appeared on the screens. Massive ships that looked like they were alive. Creatures with 6 legs and yellow eyes. Weapons that pulsed with organic light. "We have studied your species. You are soft. You are weak. You fight with primitive tools. You cannot work together. You will make excellent prey. When the 7 days are finished, the hunt begins." The transmission ended. The room stayed silent for a long moment. Finally, the general spoke. "Get me the president. Get me every world leader. This is no longer a NASA problem." Back on Jeju Island, Kongde and Park Yuna stared at their screens in shock. They had been the first to detect the alien ships, but they never imagined this. 7 days, Park Yuna whispered. "They are giving us 7 days." Kongde was already reaching for his phone. "We need to contact Seoul. The government needs to know what we detected before anyone else." Above Earth, the Vorthok hunting fleet uncloaked. 20 massive bioships appeared in space like nightmares made real. They were alive, breathing, pulsing with alien life. Each ship was the size of a city, grown rather than built. Commander Vec stood on his bridge and looked down at Earth. Such a pretty planet. Soon it would be decorated with the bones of its inhabitants. "Commander," his second-in-command said, "should we begin releasing the Fearmakers?" The Fearmakers were small creatures, bred to terrorize prey before the real hunt began. They would drop into Earth's atmosphere and spread panic. When the prey was scared and running, hunting became more fun. "Not yet," Dekvar said. "Let them think about what is coming. Fear makes the meat taste better." He had hunted on 47 worlds. He had seen species with claws like swords and teeth like knives. He had fought creatures that could breathe fire and others that could turn invisible. All of them had fallen to the Vorthok in the end. These humans would be no different. They had no fangs, no claws, no natural armor. They could not even agree on which tribe should lead them. They would scatter like frightened animals when the real hunting began. 7 days, humans, Dekvar whispered, looking down at the blue planet. Make your peace with whatever gods you worship. The greatest predators in the galaxy are coming for you. But if Commander Dekvar had looked more closely at Earth, he might have noticed something strange. The humans were not scattering. They were not running in panic. Instead, they were doing something the Vorthok had never seen prey species do before. They were calling each other. Every government was contacting every other government. Every scientist was sharing data with scientists. In other countries, every military was coordinating with militaries around the world. The humans were working together and deep in research centers around the globe. Some of the smartest humans were starting to ask a very dangerous question. If these alien ships were alive, what would happen if someone found a way to kill them? On the 4th day, Commander Dekvar watched Earth through his bioship's living sensors. The planet looked calm and peaceful. No massive evacuations, no panic. The humans seemed to be going about their normal lives. Strange, he muttered to his second in command. Usually prey species are running in terror by now. Perhaps they do not understand the threat. Commander, the smaller Vorthok replied. Their brains are very small. Maybe they cannot comprehend what is coming. Dekvar studied the data streams from their spy drones. Humans were gathering in large groups, but not to flee. They were meeting in buildings, talking, planning. Some were even smiling. What are they doing? He asked. Unknown, Commander. They seem to be organizing. Down on Earth, Colonel Kim Jae stood in front of a room full of military officers from around the world. The meeting was taking place in Seoul, South Korea, but generals from America, Russia, China, Europe, and every other nation were connected by video link. We have 3 days left, Colonel Kim said. We need to be ready. A Russian general leaned forward on the screen. Our nuclear weapons will not work against living ships. The radiation might even make them stronger. Conventional weapons are useless too, added an American admiral. We need a new approach. Colonel Kim nodded. Dr. Park Yuna has some ideas. She is our lead expert on the alien biotechnology. Dr. Park Yuna stepped forward, holding a tablet. She looked tired but determined. I have been studying the biosignatures from the alien ships. They're alive, which means they have weaknesses that living things have. What kind of weaknesses? Asked a Chinese general. They need to eat. They need to breathe. They can get sick. They can die. Park Yuna pulled up charts on the screen. The alien ships show signs of having a metabolism similar to certain Earth organisms. If we can find the right biological agent, we might be able to poison them. An Indian general spoke up. What about their weapons? The creatures they use to fight? Same principle, Park Yuna replied. If they are alive, they can be killed. We just need to find the right way to do it. Meanwhile, at the Jeju Island station, Dr. Kang Dae was working around the clock. He had not slept in 2 days. His team was analyzing every signal, every transmission from the alien fleet. Doctor, his assistant called. We are getting strange readings from the alien ships. Kang Dae looked at the screen. What kind of readings? It looks like they are communicating with each other, but not with radio waves. They are using some kind of biological signal, like a nervous system. Kang Dae's eyes widened. You mean the ships are connected to each other like a hive mind? It looks that way. They share information instantly across the entire fleet. Kang Dae smiled for the first time in days. That could be their weakness. If they are all connected, then a virus that affects one ship could spread to all of them. He immediately called Dr. Park Yuna in Seoul. In space, Commander Dekvar was growing impatient. Release the fearmakers, he ordered. Let us see how these humans react to real terror. The Vorthok bioships opened like flowers. From inside came hundreds of smaller creatures. They looked like flying nightmares, part insect, part snake, with acid for blood and claws that could cut through metal. The fearmakers entered Earth's atmosphere like falling stars. They spread out across the planet, targeting major cities. Their job was simple: cause terror and chaos. Make the humans run screaming. The first fearmaker landed in New York City. It was the size of a small car, with too many eyes and too many teeth. It let out a horrible shriek that shattered windows. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of running away, humans started running toward it. Police officers, soldiers, even ordinary citizens with hunting rifles. They surrounded the creature and opened fire. The fearmaker's acid blood burned through concrete, but the humans did not run. They brought in fire trucks and hosed it down with water. They used tasers and flamethrowers. They threw nets and ropes. Within an hour, the fearmaker was dead. The same thing happened all over the world. In London, Tokyo, Moscow, Mexico City. Every time a fearmaker landed, humans swarmed it. They studied it, they learned from it, and they killed it. Commander Dekvar watched in disbelief as the reports came in. How are they doing this? Fearmakers have terrorized entire civilizations. The humans are not acting like prey, Commander, his second-in-command said nervously. They are acting like ... double quotes like what? Like predators. On Earth, Dr. Park Yuna was examining a dead fearmaker in her laboratory. She had never seen anything like it. The creature's biology was completely alien, but it was still a living organism. Look at this, she said to her team. The creature's nervous system is incredibly advanced, but see these organs here. They look like they process some kind of chemical signal. Communication. These creatures can talk to each other and to the mothership using chemicals, like ants or bees. Park Yuna's eyes lit up. If we can figure out how to mimic those chemicals, we might be able to confuse them, or even control them. Colonel Kim Jae walked into the lab. How many of these things did we capture alive? 12, Park Yuna replied. They are in secure containment. Why? Because I want to know everything about them. How they think, how they fight, how they die. If more of them are coming, we need to be ready. Commander Lee Tae was in Washington, D.C., coordinating with the American military. The president wants to know if we can track the alien ships, a general said. Dr. Kong Dae thinks we can, Lee Tae replied. The ships are using biological communication. If we can tap into that network, we might be able to listen to their conversations. Listen to them. Can we understand what they are saying? We are working on it. Dr. Kong has some ideas about breaking their communication code. Back in space, Commander Dekvar was pacing on his bridge. All of his fearmakers were dead or captured. The humans had not panicked. They had not run. Instead, they had fought back with a coordination and efficiency that shocked him. Commander, his second-in-command, said, perhaps we should begin the full assault now, not wait for the 7 days. No, Dekvar growled. We are hunters. We follow the traditions. But send out the scout warriors. I want to know more about these humans. Yes, Commander. How many scout warriors? Send 50 large ones. Let us see how the humans handle real Vorthok warriors. The scout warriors were different from the fearmakers. They were intelligent, trained fighters. Each one was 3 times the size of a human, with armor-plated skin and weapons that could melt steel. They landed on Earth, in the dead of night. But the humans were waiting for them. Colonel Kim Jae had positioned troops around every major city. When the scout warriors landed, they found themselves surrounded by humans with weapons they had never seen before. Flamethrowers that burned hotter than any fire in nature. Electromagnetic pulse weapons that scrambled their biological systems. Chemical sprays that Dr. Park Yuna had developed from studying the fearmakers. The battle was brief and brutal. The scout warriors had expected to hunt scattered, terrified prey. Instead, they found themselves fighting coordinated military units that had been preparing for their arrival. By dawn, all 50 scout warriors were dead. Commander Dekvar stared at the battle reports in disbelief. This is impossible. 50 of our best warriors, destroyed in a single night. Commander, his second-in-command, said quietly, maybe we should consider retreating. Find easier prey. Dekvar's eyes blazed with anger. Retreat. We are the greatest hunters in the galaxy. We do not retreat from prey. But deep down, he was beginning to understand that these humans were not like any prey he had ever hunted. They learned fast, they adapted faster, and they fought like their lives depended on it, because they did. Commander Dekvar stood before the war council of his fleet. The other Vorthok commanders looked nervous. In 3 days they had lost hundreds of fearmakers and 50 scout warriors. This had never happened before. The humans are more dangerous than we thought, one commander said. Maybe we should call for more ships. More ships, Dekvar roared. We have 20 bioships. We have thousands of warriors. We are the Vorthok. But even as he spoke, he could see doubt in the eyes of his commanders. Their prey was fighting back. Their prey was winning. On Earth, the mood was different. In laboratories around the world, scientists were working with pieces of dead alien creatures. In military bases, soldiers were training with new weapons designed to kill living ships. Dr. Park Yuna had not slept in 2 days. She was too excited by what she had discovered. Look at this, she said to her team, pointing at a sample under the microscope. The alien creatures all have the same basic genetic structure. They are all grown from the same source. What does that mean? Asked one of her assistants. It means they are all connected, like branches of the same tree. If we can find the right virus, we can attack all of them at once. Colonel Kim Jae walked into the lab. How long do you need? Give me 1 more day, Park Yuna said. I think I have found something. At the Jeju Island station, Dr. Kong Dae was having his own breakthrough. We cracked their communication code, he told Lee Tae over the phone. We can understand what they are saying to each other. What are they saying? They are scared, Kong Dae said with a smile. They are calling us the terrible prey and the hunters who were hunted. They have never seen anything like us. Can we communicate with them? Better than that, I think we can hack into their biocommunication network. We can send false information to their ships. We can make them think things that are not true. Lee Tae felt a chill of excitement. Can you make them think we are stronger than we are? I can make them think we are an army of demons if you want. That night, the Vorthok fleet received a transmission. It came from Earth, but it was in their own biological language. The message was simple. We are humanity. We are the hunters of hunters. We are the predators who eat predators. Your ships are already infected with our bioweapons. You have 12 hours to surrender or we will turn your own bodies against you. Commander Thekvar stared at the message in horror. How do they know our language? How did they send this? Unknown, Commander. But our biosensors are detecting strange readings from the hull. Something is wrong. The truth was, nothing was wrong. Dr. Kongde had simply made the ship's own sensors give false readings, but the Vorthok did not know that panic began to spread through the fleet. Warriors started reporting illness. Ship systems began malfunctioning. The Vorthok were terrifying themselves with their own fear, but Commander Thekvar was not ready to give up. Send down the heavy assault teams, he ordered. All of them. We end this now. The heavy assault teams were the Vorthok's best warriors. Each one was the size of a tank, armed with living weapons and bioarmor that could stop any bullet. They dropped from the sky in massive pods, ready to slaughter every human they could find. They landed in major cities around the world: New York, London, Tokyo, Moscow, Seoul. The Vorthok expected to find panicked civilians running for their lives. Instead, they found Colonel Kim Jae and his international army waiting for them. The humans had spent 3 days preparing. They had built traps, set up ambushes, and created weapons specifically designed to kill Vorthok warriors. Most importantly, they had Dr. Park Yuna's biological weapons. The battle began at dawn. Vorthok warriors charged through the streets, expecting easy prey. Instead, they found themselves breathing poisoned air that made their own bodies turn against them. They found themselves trapped in nets that conducted electricity directly into their nervous systems. They found themselves facing humans who had studied their every weakness. In Seoul, Colonel Kim Jae watched as a massive Vorthok warrior stumbled and fell. The creature's own bioarmor was dissolving, eaten away by bacteria that Dr. Park Yuna had designed specifically for alien tissue. Target down, he reported into his radio. Weapon is effective. Around the world the same thing was happening. The Vorthok heavy assault teams were being destroyed by their own biology, turned against them by human scientists who had learned to fight fire with fire. But the biggest surprise came when the humans started capturing Vorthok warriors alive. Commander Lee Tae led a team that managed to trap a wounded Vorthok commander in New York. Instead of killing it, they loaded it into a specially designed transport. Where are you taking it? Asked the local military commander. To Dr. Kongde. Lee Tae replied he has a plan. On Jeju Island, Dr. Kongde was ready. He had prepared a special chamber filled with the same biological communication signals that the Vorthok used to talk to their ships. When the captured Vorthok was brought to him, Kongde smiled. Hello, he said in the creature's own language, using the translation system his team had built. I have some questions for you. The Vorthok warrior tried to resist, but Kongde's team had learned how to use the creature's own biology against it. They could make it feel pain or pleasure, fear or calm, just by adjusting the biological signals in the chamber. Tell me about your fleet, Kongde said. Tell me about your weapons. Tell me about your homeworld, the Vorthok warrior told him. Everything. In space. Commander Thekvar watched in horror as his assault teams were wiped out. Worse, he was receiving reports that one of his commanders had been captured alive. They have Raktal, his second-in-command, reported. They took him alive. Impossible. Raktal would never surrender. The reports say he is talking to them, telling them our secrets. Thekvar felt something he had never experienced before. Fear, real, cold fear. These humans were not prey. They were something else, something that captured predators and made them talk, something that turned biology into a weapon, something that learned and adapted faster than any species he had ever encountered. Commander, his second-in-command said quietly, we are receiving a new message from the planet. The message appeared on the screen. It was from the humans, but it was not a surrender. It was a threat. We have your warrior. We have your secrets. We know where you come from. We know where your other fleets are hunting. You have one chance to leave our system alive. Take it. Commander Thekvar stared at the message. For the first time in his life, he was facing prey that had become the predator, and he was not sure he could win. The captured Vorthok warrior, Raktal, sat in Dr. Kongde's biocommunication chamber. The human scientist had been questioning him for hours. At first Raktal had tried to resist, but the humans had learned to control his nervous system using his own biological signals. Your home world, Kongde said in the Vorthok language. Where is it? I will not tell you, Raktal growled, but his body betrayed him. The biological signals in the chamber made him feel intense pain when he lied, and pleasure when he told the truth. The Vorthok Empire controls 17 star systems. Raktal found himself saying, our home world is in the Kethra system, 47 light years from here. Kongde smiled. How many hunting fleets do you have? 12 fleets, Raktal said, fighting against the compulsion to speak. Each fleet has 20 to 30 bioships. They are scattered across the galaxy, hunting different species. What species are they hunting now? Raktal's eyes widened as he realized what the human was asking. You cannot stop them. They are too far away, too strong, answered the question. The Zephyrians in the Altair system, the crystalline collective near Vega, the methane breathers in the Proxima system. Ractal's voice was filled with horror as he realized he was giving away the locations of all the Vorthak's current prey. Dr. Kongde recorded everything. When he was finished, he had a complete map of the Vorthak Empire and all their current hunting operations. He immediately contacted Li Tae in Washington. "We have everything we need," he said. "Fleet locations, ship configurations, biological weaknesses, and most importantly, the location of their home world." Li Tae was in a meeting with military leaders from around the world. "Can we reach them?" he asked. "With their own ships?" "Yes," Kongde replied. "We have captured 3 Vorthok bioships. Dr. Park Yuna thinks she can reprogram them to obey human commands." In her laboratory, Dr. Park Yuna was working with a team of international scientists. They had been studying the captured Vorthok bioships for days. The ships were alive, but they were also incredibly complex machines. "It is like trying to perform brain surgery on a whale," she said to her team. "But I think we can do it." The key was understanding how the Vorthok controlled their ships. The aliens used a combination of biological commands and chemical signals to communicate with their vessels. Dr. Park Yuna had learned to mimic these signals. "Watch this," she said, approaching one of the captured bioships. She placed her hand on a special device that translated her commands into Vorthok biosignals. The massive ship responded. Its hull plates shifted, its weapon systems activated, and its engines began to warm up. "It is working," she said with excitement. "We can fly these ships. We can use their own technology against them." Colonel Kim J was training the first human crews to operate Vorthok bioships. It was not easy. The ships were alive and had their own instincts. But humans had one advantage. They learned faster than any species the Vorthok had ever encountered. "The ship wants to hunt," Colonel Kim explained to his crew. "That is its nature. We need to convince it that we are the hunters now, and other Vorthok are the prey." The psychological warfare was working. In space, Commander Vekvar was receiving reports that made no sense. 3 of his bioships had gone silent. Their last transmissions showed them heading toward Earth, but they were not responding to commands. "Send a recovery team," he ordered. "We cannot, Commander. The ships are broadcasting human signals now. They are warning us to stay away." Vekvar felt his blood run cold. The humans had not just captured his ships. They had turned them. They had made Vorthok bioships into human weapons. On Earth, the first human-controlled Vorthok ship was preparing to launch. Li Tae stood on the bridge, wearing a biosuit that let him interface with the ship's living systems. It felt strange, like wearing another creature's skin. "Are you ready?" Dr. Park Yuna asked through the communication system. "As ready as I can be," Li Tae replied. Beginning 3 months later, Commander Vekvar sat in a prison cell on Earth. Through the window, he could see human ships preparing for launch. But these were not the primitive vessels the Vorthok had expected to find. These were hybrid ships, part human technology and part captured Vorthok biosystems. Dr. Park Yuna visited him regularly. She had questions about Vorthok biology, questions that Vekvar was compelled to answer thanks to the biological control systems the humans had perfected. "Tell me about the Zephyrian system," she said during one visit. "Your people are hunting." "They were hunting there," Vekvar corrected bitterly. "Your people arrived 2 weeks ago. My hunting fleet is dead." Park Yuna smiled. "And the Zephyrians free alive, learning to build weapons like yours." Vekvar's voice was filled with defeat. "You did not just save them, you taught them to fight." It was true. The first human rescue fleet had arrived at the Zephyrian homeworld just as the Vorthok hunting party was beginning their attack. The humans had not simply driven off the aliens. They had captured their ships, studied their technology, and shared both the weapons and the knowledge. Now the Zephyrians had their own hybrid fleet, combining their natural abilities with captured Vorthok biotechnology and human tactical knowledge. Colonel Kim J stood in the command center on Earth, watching screens that showed human fleets across the galaxy. In just 3 months, humanity had gone from a single world species to a galactic power. "Status report," he said to his aide. "The Proxima rescue fleet has successfully eliminated the Vorthok hunters threatening the methane breathers," the aide reported. "The Crystalline Collective has been freed from their hunters near Vega. Both species are now building their own defensive fleets using our technology and our expansion. We now have human bases in 12 star systems. Each one is defended by a combination of human, alien, and captured Vorthok forces. The galactic community is calling us the Liberators." Dr. Kongde had been promoted to head of the new Galactic Communication Network. From his expanded facility on Jeju Island, he could monitor signals from across the galaxy. What he was hearing made him smile. Species that had lived in fear of the Vorthok for centuries were now talking to each other openly. They were sharing technology, forming alliances, and building defenses. The galaxy was becoming a very different place. Dr. Kong, his assistant, called. "We're receiving a transmission from the Vorthok homeworld." Kongde raised an eyebrow. "What are they saying?" "They want to surrender unconditionally. They are offering to submit to human authority and provide reparations to all the species they have hunted." It was not surprising. The Vorthok Empire was crumbling. Their hunting fleets had been destroyed or captured. Their biotechnology had been turned against them. Their prey species had become their enemies. But the humans were not interested in ruling an empire. They had a different plan. Li Te stood before the Galactic Council, a new organization that had formed after the liberation of the hunted worlds. Representatives from dozens of species sat in the chamber, all of them free because of human intervention. The Vorthok Empire will be dissolved, he announced. Their homeworld will be placed under the protection of the Galactic Council. Their surviving population will be relocated to worlds where they can learn to live without hunting other species. A Zephyrian representative raised a tentacle. What about their technology? Their bioships will be shared with all member species of the Council, Li Te replied. Every world will have the ability to defend itself. No species will ever again live in fear of predators like the Vorthok. Dr. Park Yuna had been appointed as the head of the new Galactic Biological Research Institute. Her job was to study alien life forms and develop defenses against any future threats. She had teams of scientists from dozens of worlds working together. We have learned something important, she said in her first report to the Council. The Vorthok were not the only predator species in the galaxy. Our intelligence suggests there are others, some even more dangerous. What do you recommend? Asked a representative from the Crystalline Collective. We prepare, Park Yuna replied. We learn, we adapt, and we make sure that every peaceful species in the galaxy has the tools to defend itself. In his prison cell, Commander Vekvar watched the news broadcasts with growing amazement. The humans had not just defeated the Vorthok Empire, they had transformed the entire galaxy. Species that had been prey for millennia were now building fleets and forming alliances. The hunters had become the hunted, and the hunted had become the protectors. You are right, he said to Dr. Park Yuna during her next visit. Humans are not prey. You are something far more dangerous than we ever were. What are we? She asked. You are the predators who protect other prey. You are the hunters who hunt hunters. You are the species that turns victims into victors. Vekvar looked at her with something like respect. We took worlds and destroyed them. You take worlds and make them stronger. Park Yuna nodded. That is what humans do. We adapt, we overcome, and we make sure our friends can do the same. 1 year after the first Vorthok ship had appeared in Earth's skies, the galaxy was a very different place. Humanity had established diplomatic relations with over 100 species. Former prey worlds had become thriving civilizations. The fear that had ruled the galaxy for centuries was gone. Dr. Kongde stood in his observation deck, looking out at the stars. In the distance he could see the lights of ships from dozens of different worlds, all working together to explore and protect the galaxy. His communication console chimed. It was a message from the far edge of the galaxy, from a human exploration ship. Dr. Kong, this is Captain Yu Jin, aboard the exploration vessel New Seoul. We have made contact with a new species. They call themselves the Devourers. They make the Vorthok look like children. They are heading toward inhabited space. Kongde smiled. A year ago, such a message would have filled him with terror. Now it just made him curious. Understood. Captain, begin detailed scans. We will send a research team to study them. Should we be worried? Doctor, no, Captain. The Devourers should be worried about us. He opened a channel to the Galactic Defense Network. Within minutes, ships from a dozen different worlds were heading toward the new threat. Not to hide from it, not to run from it, but to study it, understand it, and if necessary, to teach it the same lesson the Vorthok had learned. The galaxy had new apex predators now, and they were called humans. But unlike the Vorthok, humans did not hunt for sport or food. They hunted to protect. They hunted to liberate. They hunted to make sure that no species would ever again live in fear of predators. The age of the hunters was over. The age of the protectors had begun. And Commander Vekvar, watching from his prison cell, could only shake his head in amazement at what his people had awakened when they tried to make humanity their prey. They had wanted to hunt the ultimate victims. Instead, they had created the ultimate predators, and the galaxy would never be the same.